Did you know that not being careful with units caused a NASA mission to Mars to fail? In 1999, the Mars Climate Orbiter was lost because one team used English units and the other team used metric units. This caused the actual orbit to be smaller than the intended orbit, which presumably caused the orbiter to burn up in Mars's atmosphere. This units mistake cost NASA about $125 million. So even though units mistakes are not usually this costly, it's important to be careful when dealing with units of measure. When solving problems in physics, we use the SI system, which stands for the International System of Units. This means we will use the metric system rather than English units often used in the United States. Interestingly, this map shows the countries that use the SI system as their main system of measurement. As you can see, the United States is one of only a few countries that does not use the metric system. There are 7 SI base units. The 7 base units are listed here. The first 3, meters, seconds, and kilograms, are ones you are probably already familiar with. You might be familiar with some of the other units as well. These will be used later in physics and in other science classes. One interesting thing to note is that the SI base unit for mass is the kilogram and not the gram. There are also many other units that can be derived from these units. For example, the SI unit for area would be meters squared. When using equations, typically all quantities given need to be converted into SI units before they are substituted in. When listing measurements, answers to problems, etc., it's important to always list the unit with each value. If the NASA team had done this, the tragic loss of the orbiter could have been avoided. Metric units are often used with prefixes to help describe quantities much larger or much smaller than the unit. The following table shows a list of common prefixes. To get a better sense for how big each of these would be, let's look at some objects of varying sizes. First, a meter is about the size of a guitar. If we then look at bigger objects, a decameter is 10 meters, which is about the length of the end zone in football. A hectometer is about the length of the entire football field, or the height of the Great Pyramid in Giza. A kilometer is a little more than the height of the Burj Khalifa in Dubai. For comparison, note the heights of the other skyscrapers in Dubai. A megameter is about a third the diameter of the moon, a gigameter is about the size of the sun, and a terameter is about 7 times the distance from the Earth to the sun. If we look at things smaller than a meter, a decimeter is about the size of a grapefruit, a centimeter is about the width of a fingernail or a AAA battery, a millimeter is about the width of a pencil tip, cells are often measured in micrometers, a nanometer is about 10 times the size of an atom, and a picometer is smaller than an atom but not as small as the nucleus of an atom. So to summarize, it's important to keep track of units of measurement. In physics, we will use the metric or SI system for units. When describing very large or very small quantities, metric prefixes can be used.